Hey, happy Friday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com. Today is Friday, March 8th, 2019. This is episode 261 of The Daily Dope. So welcome aboard. Tonight is going to be a fun night. It's Friday. Let's kick back. Let's get ready to have a fun weekend. I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Traveller Ascension Imperial Warrant, which is from Daring Play Games. It's designed by my pal Terry Coleman, so I will be taking a look at that in just a few moments. Do want to mention the tabletop gaming news has returned. Yes, that's right, because a lot of people were contacting me saying, hey, you know what? I really like the news. I don't care about the people who let the people complain who don't like it. So I gotta say, I gotta, kind of take care of the happy fans, right? The folks who are happy with the Daily Dope. So yes, the news is back. I've got some news tonight as well. A couple of big news pieces. I'm sure that probably some folks out there already know about these, but then again, never know, maybe not. So this is a live stream. If this is your first time stopping by and checking out the show, like I said, kick back, relax. This is very, very casual. I just sit, talk about tabletop games, sometimes a little bit of pop culture stuff, do unboxings, do first looks at RPG products, I do reviews, so on and so forth. I know a vast majority of people watch these videos long after the stream ends, but just pointing out, there is chat available, so if you are watching live on YouTube, feel free to say howdy. And hey, Robert Moffat's here already. Howdy, Robert. Always like to see people starting to pop in. Now, Ghost World, who's one of our constant viewers, tends to get here about 10 minutes into the show. I don't know why. We'll find out. But I do want to point out, it's going to be up to the folks in chat towards the end of the show if they want me to do a little bonus segment or not. I will float that past once we see who's bouncing around here in chat. But of course, I do want to mention, if you are watching live like Robert is right now, if you want to say howdy, say hello. If you have a question, feel free to ask. Maybe there's something about Traveller Ascension Imperial Warrant, which I am not going to keep referring to it in that long, four-word title. I'm just going to call it Traveller Ascension. Maybe there's something about that you want to take a closer peek at when I do the unboxing. If so, feel free. Just chime on in. I will respond. I do pay attention to the chat. I do want to also mention, it is not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the stranger commenters at bay. So, there you go. Bonus, 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 says Robert. Well, we'll wait. We'll wait to see who pops in. I will, after the news, we'll see. I'll ask who to see who's in chat. So, anyway, as I mentioned, the tabletop gaming news has returned. I've got 4 news pieces tonight. As I mentioned, there are 2 that I think are pretty big news pieces. Will be going up on the website as well. I've kind of held off on revealing the news, even though the news broke up on each of these a couple of days ago, because I was floating around maybe bringing the news back tonight anyway. So, but yes, a lot of people had reached out and said, yes, we want the tabletop gaming news on the Daily Dope every night. Well, every weeknight. So, if you're one of those people out there who do not like the tabletop gaming news, please let me point out, look down below in the show notes. Take a peek down there. Yes, I know if you're just watching this on YouTube, you got to click on the show more to get the show notes. But in the show notes, it will actually indicate when the tabletop gaming news is over, so you can skip past that. All right, so Nefarious Coel is popping in. Hey, NK. You know what? Before I jump into the news, I should point out, where do I have a float? No, it's upstairs. Duh. So I was doing a first look at Castle Falkenstein yesterday. And the Comme Il Faut supplement for it. And I kept referring to Castle Falkenstein as Castle Falkenstein because I thought, you know, if it's EI, it's an E. But Nefarious Coel actually tossed up a comment on last night's show saying, no, I had it opposite. If it's EI, then it's pronounced Stein. If it's IE, then it's Steen. I was like, oh, yes, it's pronounced Frankenstein. Yes, I did make that young Frankenstein reference last night. So, hey, you know, all right, you know, whatever. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. But still, actually, it looks like a pretty cool RPG. So I will be reviewing that soon enough. All right, let's jump into the news because Renegade Games Studio is releasing a new title in their hit Lanterns lineup, and it's actually a roll and write game. Yes, that's right. It's a roll and write. Here's the dope on Lanterns Dice, Lights in the Sky. The harvest is in, and now it's time to celebrate. Yes, that's right. Crank up the cool in the gang. The Emperor has declared that this shall be the best harvest festival yet. Players act as artisans, decorating the palace lake with floating lanterns and launching fireworks to light up the sky. The player who earns the most honor will make the best impression on the Emperor and win the game and thus keep their head. Nah, I'm just tossing that in. Nothing about losing heads. I just thought, you know, the Emperor would be off their heads. Not enough honor. Roll dice and choose which colored lanterns players can fill in on their score sheets. Earn gifts to perform special actions. Fill in additional colored lanterns. Lanterns? Why did I say that? They all float down here, Richie. As I drip soda on my... Good thing I'm wearing black, huh? Anyway, yeah, that's right. Beep, beep, Richie. I was going to say, it's awfully dry down here in the Duct Tape Studios again tonight. It's always dry. What should I say? And it's kind of funny. I get distracted because I'll see little puffs of cat hair kind of float past. So if you ever see me, like, you know, I'm reading, like, the news, and you see my eyes kind of, like, pop away, I'm either looking at one of the cats to see what they're up to, or I see, like, a little puff of cat hair blowing by. Anyway, earn gifts to perform special actions, fill in additional colored lanterns, and create powerful combinations. Cover completed shapes with firework tiles to score points and put on a spectacular show. Greatest show on Earth. Lanterns, the Harvest Festival, has delighted fans for the past 4 years with beautiful art, elegant rules, and satisfying choices. While the original version has solidified its place as an evergreen title, very unusual for a publisher to actually use that term to the public. They usually don't kind of like pat themselves on the back by talking about evergreens. Anyway, fans are always looking for a fresh take on their favorite classics. Lanterns Dice, Lights in the Sky is a roll and write game that allows players to create their own lantern-filled lake using dice that are rolled into a custom tray, creating a pattern similar to the original Lanterns tiles. Adorned with Beth Sobel's stunning art, Lanterns Dice, Lights in the Sky is expected to hit tables this summer. Hey, Ghost World's popping in. And I just said, Ghost World usually pops in about 10 minutes after the show starts. And it's 10 minutes after the show has started. Howdy, Ghost. Dander blinding alert. No, it's not really dander. It's usually just... And the funny thing is, it's not Smokey's hair. It's usually Pinky's white. Because Pinky's mainly white. Smokey's completely black. But it's usually when I see the stuff floating by, it's Pinky's hair. I don't know why. Anyway, Lanterns Dice is for 2 to 4 players. ages 10 and up. It's going to play in 30 to 45 minutes, and it will carry an MSRP of $25 when it arrives in late May. There is no specific release date just yet. But, yeah, that's kind of cool. I got to be honest, the only roll and write game I have ever played, okay, outside of Yahtzee, is Roll Through the Ages. That's about it. That is about it. Hey, Kabuki Kids popping in. All right, we got the gang hanging out. Do want to mention before I move on to the next news piece, I did give a shout out to quite a few of the folks who've been hanging out in chat this week. So I gave them a shout out on Twitter. So if you follow the Gaming Gang on Twitter, I said howdy and thanks, because we've been having some fun in chat this week. Okay, so that's really the only board game news I've got. But I do have quite a bit of RPG news. And it came as no surprise whatsoever that Paizo Inc. unveiled their initial lineup of products for the second edition of Pathfinder. And, like I said, absolutely no surprise, they are going to arrive on August 1st, the first day of Gen Con. Yes. Here's the dope. I am not going into all the details about what's coming out. I am going to tell you what's coming out. I am going to actually post some independent news pieces on the Gaming Gang website probably tomorrow morning, because there is quite a bit of information about each of these products. So here is the dope on what's coming out for Pathfinder 2nd Edition this summer. Advance your tabletop gaming experience with Pathfinder 2nd Edition, launching August 1st, 2019. Pathfinder 2nd Edition is the culmination of over a decade of development and feedback from more than 125,000 gamers, featuring easy-to-learn, streamlined rules allowing for faster gameplay, let's hope, deep character customization, and all the tools you need to tell your stories. The releases will include the Pathfinder Core Rulebook in hardcover. There's the standard hardcover is $59.99. The deluxe hardcover is $79.99. There's the Pathfinder Bestiary. Once again, another hardcover. It's $49.99. Excuse me, deluxe hardcover is $69.99. There's Pathfinder Lost Omens World Guide. So that's a little different. I am going to look into that a bit more. Kabuki Kid said thanks for the shout out. Something things. World Through the Ages, it was Bronze Age, Kabuki Kid. That's the one. The first one that came out. Because I don't actually own it. Elliot Miller, my best friend, who might be coming back to the Gaming Gang. Don't know. We've been talking about it. He's got it. So we used to play that quite a bit. All right. So anyway, so the Lost Omens World Guide, are they doing a different world? I'm not positive. I have not really. I've gotten the PDFs for the playtest, but I have not actually really dove into it to really take a peek. Anyway, there's also going to be the first part of the Age of Ashes adventure path. The adventure will be called the Hell Knight Hill, or Hell Knight Hill, period. There's also a Pathfinder adventure. I should say the adventure path is going to be $24.99. There's a Pathfinder adventure, The Fall of Plaguestone. These are soft covers right now I'm talking about. That's going to be $22.99. There's going to be the first flip mat. That is the Fall of Plaguestone. That'll be $14.99. There'll be a Pathfinder character sheet pack, also $14.99. A GM screen, the widescreen edition. So I'm going to take a guess it's probably 4 panels. It's $19.99. There's a combat pad. No clue what that's going to be. $24.99. And also a conditioned card deck for $22.99. So as I mentioned, I do have more details about a lot of these. So what I'm probably going to do is probably do a news piece talking about the core books. So the bestiary and the core book. Talking about that, giving some more information about that. Some more information about the adventures. Maybe the world guide as well. Kind of do those a little bit separately. To be fair, Pathfinder got pretty bloated Gotta agree. Okay, so hey, Vinyl Rabbit. I am not familiar with Vinyl Rabbit. Howdy. Welcome aboard. A lot of bad feelings about Pathfinder 2.0. Pathfinder is supposed to be an RPG for those who prefer an older version of D&D to come out with a new version is a bit strange. I can't necessarily agree with that because you figure Pathfinder came out 10 years ago, so it's really D&D 3.75. But NK, it's easier for me to just say NK than Nefarious Coel, is correct in my opinion too. That Pathfinder got way too bloated as far as the products that are out there. So here's something I was going to mention, and yes, Vinyl Rabbit, you're very welcome. Welcome aboard. It's very casual around here. So, how is Pathfinder in terms of power creep? Are we dealing with very powerful PCs by around level 10? Yeah, 12-ish, 12, 10, 12. Yeah, you're getting close to probably like demigod. It's kind of. So yes, there's. See, that's one of the problems here. You know what? Let's do this. Let me pop over here. We'll talk about this a little bit, as opposed to just continually watching those slides go past. There is still some more news, but talking about Pathfinder, one of the things I was going to mention is I have done like almost no reviews for Paizo. I reviewed the core book for Starfinder, and that's only because Elliot gave me that as I think it was a Christmas gift, if I remember right. And one time, and I've interviewed Eric Mona like 3 times, but Eric's not in charge of handling press copies of stuff. So the person who did that left, and then I had absolutely no idea who was in charge of it. But once they announced the 2nd edition, after that, now I get a PR contact who shares news with me all the time. In fact, that's where I got all the news for the new releases that are coming out for 2nd edition. And because I knew 2nd edition was coming and Pathfinder had been out for so long, and I'd feel kind of stupid just trying to jump in and be like, oh, hey, I'm reviewing the Occult Handbook, which is the one product I ever got that Eric Mona actually handed to me at Gen Con a couple years back. I thought, hey, I'm going to wait until the 2nd edition is going to pop. So I have reached out to the PR contact from Paizo and said, hey, you know what? I'd like to get on board. I'd like to be able to share Paizo stuff that comes out with our audience here, because I do all the D&D stuff. I do a lot of other RPG stuff. So yes, D&D 5e reduce the creep. Yep, I would agree. I think Vinyl Rabbit says, I think all new RPGs have become bloated. Long for the days when D&D was a dungeon delving experience. Oh, Vinyl Rabbit is an OSR fan. Sweet. You will like it here then, because I am a old school Renaissance, old school revival fan. In fact, that's what I'm running right now for the rest of the gang, my nephew and some of his friends, and even my brother. So yeah, Basic Fantasy is great. In fact, that's what I'm running. NK, I'm actually running my own version of Basic Fantasy. I've kind of tweaked some things, but yeah, pretty cool, pretty interesting. And I'm actually running them through a super old module. Anyone remember the Vampire Queen? You got to go way back for the Vampire Queen. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. Robert says, I'm an OST fan. Old School Tactical? No, OSR. So we've got Vinyl Rabbit is an OSR fan, and Robert is an OST fan. So there you go. All right, let's jump back into the news, because the other big news item, which is for some people probably going to be a bigger deal than Pathfinder 2nd edition, is Modiphius Entertainment announced they're in development. They've entered a partnership with Bethesda Software. They're going to create 2 unique role-playing game products based on Fallout. Yes, that's right. So, I've got the dope. A little bit of dope, not a whole lot. Modiphius Entertainment announced they are developing 2 unique tabletop role-playing game products based on the Fallout video game franchise. Modiphius will develop and publish 2 tabletop RPG titles. Just said that, guys. What's going on here? The first, expanding on the narrative wargame experience of Fallout Wasteland Warfare, their licensed tabletop miniatures game, while a second, more traditional tabletop RPG will follow using the company's 2D20 system. Modiphius Entertainment has had great success with their recent licensed role-playing games using the 2D20 system. Infinity, the role-playing game, a role-playing game based on Corvus Belli's Infinity Miniatures game. Conan, Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of, good stuff, based in the world of Robert E. Howard's novels. And Star Trek Adventures, under license from CBS Studios Inc. That's a pretty good system, too. Last year, Conan, Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of, won Best Role-Playing Game at the UK Games Expo Awards, and Star Trek Adventures won 3 Ennies for Best Rules, Best Miniatures Product, and Best Production Values. The Fallout Wasteland Warfare Miniatures game has already proved a smash hit with fans of the hobby and Fallout franchise. I gotta admit, I haven't seen it. I have not seen it. I'll have a little bit more to say about that in just a second, but I don't know of anybody who's been playing Fallout Wasteland Warfare. Is it that difficult to get in the US? Don't know. Anyway, speaking of the Fallout Wasteland Warfare miniatures game, has already proved a smash hit with fans of the hobby and Fallout franchise. Released in August, it features a huge range of highly detailed 32mm scale resin miniatures, plus rules for narrative wargaming in the Wasteland with co-op, versus, and solo modes of play. Fallout Wasteland Warfare game designer James Sheehan is developing a role-playing game expansion for the miniatures game, which will include new rules for character creation, creating adventures in the Wasteland, and more. Longtime fan and head of role-playing game development at Modiphius Entertainment, Sam Webb, of Star Trek Adventures fame, will lead development of the 2D20 system version for a more in-depth tabletop role-playing game experience. The Fallout Wasteland Warfare role-playing game will be available this summer, with the 2D20 system version following in 2020. Cool. So, I'm pretty pumped about this, simply because people have been begging for years to have an official Fallout role-playing game. I know there are some kind of homebrewed systems out there, and I've heard there's actually a homebrew for GURPS. You want to talk about bloated? GURPS. I still have I have a soft spot for GURPS because they actually had wild cards. If anybody's familiar with the wild cards novels out there, which are being made into a TV series, I believe. So I still have kind of a soft spot for GURPS, but yeah, I heard there's kind of a it's not even third party, it's sort of kind of like a homebrew because they're not charging any money for it. But yeah, pretty cool to hear that we'll have a Fallout RPG. Interesting, they're doing kind of an RPG system to put into the Wasteland Warfare. That doesn't roll off the tongue that well. Miniatures game. And that'll be this summer, so that's just going to be kind of a supplement. And yay, Kabuki Kid knows wildcards. Sweet. Yes. Excellent. The novels were awesome up to about the 10th one. And I know there's a whole new lineup, all new authors and things like that. The series is back. But the original series, I think once they got to the point where they started having individual authors write the whole thing, the whole book, fell off a lot. And the whole Tachyon becomes a girl thing was, just kind of weird. Anyway, we're not talking about wild cards. We're talking about Fallout. So pretty cool. One thing I do want to point out is I have been talking to the PR person over at Modiphius Entertainment because the folks over now. Okay, so the PR person for let's move back over here again. I feel weird kind of going off on tangents, talking about other stuff while something else is showing. Got one news piece left still. So I'd reached out to the PR person from Modiphius Entertainment because they actually print the Free League Publishing books and releases. And I've been sharing all of the recent Free League Publishing stuff. And Boelle, I believe is how her name is pronounced. Now she's moved on to something else. So now they're going to have a new PR person over at Free League. But she was like, yeah, they were loving the coverage. So I thought it was kind of funny. Here I'm getting all this Free League stuff that I'm, doing coverage on. Modiphius makes it, but Modiphius doesn't send in any physical stuff. Every once in a while I might get a PDF. So I reached out to their PR person, and I guess, I'm not positive, but knock on wood, sounds like they're going to send me Fallout Wasteland Warfare and I think John Carter of Mars. Has come from across the pond is for the most part what I understand. So, yep, good old George R.R. Martin. Double Solitaire. Was that the one where they're on the Tachyon's planet? I'm trying to remember. I know they had the jumpers and stuff like that. Yeah, great series. The early books are fantastic. Like the first, the one with the Puppet Master is excellent. Hey, Vinyl Rabbit says, speaking of Steve Jackson, which I try not to, when's his new Melee RPG system due to come out? I just did a news piece for it last week. It's called The Fantasy Trip. So you can buy Melee and Wizards separately, I think. Or you can get just the big box where it's going to have the Fantasy Trip books and all the other stuff. Yes, it's supposed to be, if I remember correctly, I think it was April is when it's supposed to be out. Yeah, we won't be seeing that because those of you who watch the show know Steve Jackson Games has never given me a single item to review in the almost 9 years that I've been doing this. So they don't get much play. All right, so let's move on to the final news piece, because a company that is good pals of mine, another company across the pond, Cubicle 7 Entertainment, has the initial full-size adventure supplement for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. It's going to be heading into stores this June. I would assume that we should see this pretty soon on Drive-Thru RPG. And here's a dope on Rough Nights and Hard Days, which sounds kind of perverse, to be honest. Rough Nights and Hard Days offers 5 interlinked scenarios for the 4th edition of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, written by series veteran Graham Davis. On a side note, I interviewed Graham at Gen Con last year. He was a lot of fun. Also recorded a discussion, well, I should say presentation, actually, because it was just him at Gen Con as well, talking about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. So if you are a fan and you haven't seen those, check those videos out. They are on the Gaming Gang channel here. Anyway, so these can be played as standalone adventures or combined into an epic 5-part campaign where the characters become embroiled in a bitter dispute between two of the Empire's quarreling noble houses. Rough Nights and Hard Days also introduces an entirely new playable species and presents a variety of pub games to amuse and confuse players. Hoping Cubicle 7 puts out a proper bestiary for Warhammer 4E. I don't know. Is there one originally? I don't remember there being one. Warhammer Fantasy, wasn't that a failed MMO? No. Actually, Vinyl, it was not. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is a very well-regarded classic role-playing game that kind of broke the mold of the D&D clones. So, anyway, what's in Rough Nights and Hard Days? Well, Rough Night at the Three Feathers. A quiet evening at a riverside inn becomes very eventful indeed. A day at the trials. A much-awaited trial by combat becomes memorable for all the wrong reasons. A night at the opera, starring the Marx Brothers. Oh, I'm sorry, no. It's an evening of cultured opera descends into farce and horror. Let's hope they don't go too heavy into the comedy there. And wedding. A celebrated society wedding does not go according to plan. And then Lord of Ubersreich. Competing factions gather for a ball that quickly becomes a battlefield. There's pub games. One learns of the many pleasant pastimes in which one can partake in the local tavern. There's gnomes. A mysterious new playable species is added. I'm trying to remember, were there gnomes in first edition Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay? Okay, Nefarious says second edition had a bestiary. Okay, cool. Cool deal. I remember, yeah, first edition had monsters in the back. Yeah, I know that. So, because I had first edition way, way back in the day. Never ran it. I used to get tons of I used to go and buy role-playing game stuff and just read it, just for the entertainment value of a lot of it. And I gotta be honest, there was a lot of crap out there, too. Rough Nights and Hard Days is the perfect addition to any game of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, as it can be used to start a new campaign, to support the design of existing locations, or to enhance an ongoing story with new adventures and rules. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay Rough Nights and Hard Days Night, will carry an MSRP of $29.99 when it releases on June 12th. Like I said, I assume you're going to be able to score the PDF over on Drive-Thru RPG sooner than that, and I'm going to take a guess it's probably going to be about $14.99. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Robert, have you been listening to WKRP in Cincinnati? Is that what's going on here? Are you tuned in? Are you listening to the radio while you're watching the show? So Ghost says, yeah, honestly, Warhammer, I don't really enjoy if it's too funny. It is actually, Warhammer is cool and unique when it's got a little bit of that, like, British humor, right? Some people don't dig British humor. They don't understand it, I think. But I think it works best when it's got a little bit of, little tongue-in-cheek. Not a lot. Not a lot of satire, not a lot of farce, but just a little bit. All right, so I am going to be unboxing and taking a look at Traveller Ascension Imperial Warrant in just a couple of moments. So, Robert Moffat popped in earlier. Robert, do you prefer Robert or do you prefer Bob? I feel kind of weird. Hey, in Ghost World, I got to point out, I want you to reach out to my email address right down in that corner there. This corner there, I should say. I've got something for you because you tend to watch every night. So I've got something special for you, a special treat. So I need you to email me so I can shoot you a link to a PDF of something that I think you will enjoy. Special giveaway unannounced, but I will surprise you on that. So anyway, so Robert popped in earlier and I mentioned, okay, so I was going to open the option of doing a bonus once we're done looking at Traveller Ascension. So are you, is chat interested in taking a peek at Zombie War from Tiny Battle Publishing? It just showed up in the mail today. I have been really looking forward to checking this out. And, no, Ghost World needs to email me. Okay, Rob is cool. So, okay, so I can say Rob, and Robert Moffat will know. Yes, Ghost World needs to email me. Anyway, you guys interested in taking a peek at Zombie War? It's just, it's a small, Tiny Battle Publishing title. And the reason is because I'd like to play it this weekend. And I don't play stuff unless I do an unboxing, which it's not really an unboxing, but we'll do a first look. Hey, Fleming Heron's popping in. Hey, Jeff, been working while I'm coming and going. Good deal. Cool. Yeah. FH. Hang out. Pop in, pop out, run out. Go, you know, grab a cocktail or something. Come back. It's okay. Okay, so Robert says, yeah. Vinyl Rabbit's like, yeah. 50-foot Colossus. There you go, from my buddy Herman Lutman, who I'm looking forward to seeing at Origins, if I can make it to Origins this year. Yeah, funding's not looking good. And you know what? The whole Kickstarter thing, I would do a Kickstarter, but I have an impression that, like, nobody would pledge. Because I've been doing this for free for so long. People will be like, geez, man, you need to do a Kickstarter in your 9th year? Give me a break. So yeah, I'd be really bummed if I was like, yeah, doing a Kickstarter for year 9 or whatever of the gaming gang slash the Daily Dope, and raised like, you know, $200. I'd be like, wow, sucks to be me. Anyway, so Ghost World knows what time it is. So Ghost, take a minute, get ready, think. Cause here's Lil Whizbub. Lil Whizbub's coming down because Lil Whizbub wants me to remind you that because the gaming gang and thus the Daily Dope are not for profit, which is a good thing because wouldn't be making one. If you like the show, if you like the website, please consider making a small donation to Lil Bub's Big Fund and the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. Yes, Little Bubs, it's not little dummy, it's Lil, L-I-L, Bubs, Big Fund, grants money out to organizations that care for special needs animals who are awaiting adoption. So these animals could be older, it could have mobility issues, it could be blind, it could be deaf, could require medications. Those pets still deserve a chance at a forever home. So Lil Bub's Big Fund actually does help support those organizations, and 100% of the funds raised are granted out to various organizations around the country. So pretty cool. Lil Bub's a great inspiration. Just the sweetest little thing. And you want to talk about cats having, you know, genetic defects and stuff, go check out lilbub.com, and you will be amazed that this cat is not only alive, but very, very happy, and seems to be the sweetest thing. Really, really does. All right, woo, it's the Bub. Yes, Jurassic Bub Fallen Kingdom. I like the Jurassic Bub part. I don't know about the Fallen Kingdom. I think just Jurassic Bub would have been good. All right, so what's cooking on next week's shows? So I changed one thing up. So on Monday, I'm still doing what I was doing on Monday. Kanban Driver's Edition. I am going to unbox this and take a first look. This is kind of the deluxe edition of Kanban. This is number 9 in the Great Designer series from Stronghold Games. Then, on Tuesday, I just got this in the mail today. It is a game that I was hoping to get an opportunity to check out, and Brotherwise Games, Chris over at Brotherwise Games shot me an email, asked me if I would like to cover Call to Adventure. Yes, from Brotherwise Games. It's a fantasy game. It uses like runes for like conflict resolution and stuff like that. So I'll show you a little bit on the back here. Let's try to angle it so we can get rid of some of that glare. Whoops, wrong way. So this Kickstarter, this looks really, really interesting. Hey, Ghost World's going, food has arrived. Good deal, go eat. Come on, it's Friday. Chat out. So this will be on Tuesday's show. I will be unboxing and taking a first look at that. On Wednesday's show, I will be reviewing Mark H. Walker's Platoon Commander Deluxe, The Battle of Kursk. Yes, from Flying Pig Games. That's Wednesday's show. I will be reviewing that. On Thursday's show, I'll review The Witcher role-playing game from R. Telsorian Games. Yeah, we've been kind of going a little heavy on R. Telsorian as of late. But I know a lot of people are curious about The Witcher RPG and if it's worth picking up. Then on Friday's show, I will unbox and take a first look at Forum Trajanum. Yes, another Stronghold Games title. This is Ancient Rome. But I think you're building stuff in Ancient Rome. So, in Soviet Russia, Commander Battle U. Right. Yes, Platoon Commander awesomeness. So, that is what's coming up on next week's shows. So, let's pop on over. Let's start taking a look at Traveller Ascension, Imperial Warrant from Daring Play Games. As you folks can tell, my software that I use to stream the show, it's now had the second update in a couple of days, and they still have not fixed the lack of a nice smooth transition from these slides. It's very, you know, for some reason they did an update, and I don't know, with the slideshow stuff they did, it's awful. So like an example, like that fades out okay, that looks good as it goes to a camera, but when I go to a slideshow, bang, it's like, nah, I don't like that, I hate that. Anyway, Traveller Ascension Imperial Warrant is from Daring Play Games. It's designed by my friend Terry Coleman. The game is for 2 players. This is the base game we're looking at. So the base game is for 2 players, ages 10 and up, and it does carry an MSRP of $79.95. So Nefarious is asking, is this the second Traveller-themed board game recently released? Not that I am aware of. I think this is the only one. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I do know for a fact that Traveller Ascension was kickstarted like 3 years ago. And it took a while for this to finally come out. So I believe this is the only Traveller game that is out there right now. So those of you who are familiar with Traveller, when I interviewed my pal Terry Coleman, isn't Traveller RPG being re-released? I don't know, what edition are we talking about? Vital Rabbit? Because there's a lot. There's a lot of them. There are quite a lot of them. I am familiar with classic, old, little black book Traveller. I got the box set that came with, I want to say it was the first 3 books. I had all of those from Game Design Workshop, and then I did pick up when they went into like the larger, like kind of standard game book size, which is what I believe. I believe that Traveller setting is kind of where this is set. That's what I think. I'm pretty sure this is like Third Imperium, beginning of the Third Imperium. So Kabuki Kid says, I think there was a Kickstarter for another Traveller a year or so ago. Well, yeah, Mark Miller's Traveller. So you got Mark Miller's Traveller. You still have the Mongoose publishing Traveller. Mega Traveller. Yeah, I remember Mega Traveller NK. I remember Traveller 2300. I had that one. Here, the funny thing is with Traveller, a lot of people love it. Like, for an example, when I interviewed my friend Terry, who I want to mention, because I'm sure Terry's going to watch this. Terry designed a tennis game for Victory Point Games, back when Victory Point Games did all their kind of like Ziploc stuff. But I mean, their Ziploc games did not have like the professional quality of this, right? They were really good games, but they were almost, you know, desktop publishing games, sort of. Yeah, 2300 AD was its own RPG, but it was still Traveller. It was a Traveller name on it. I don't, you know, I gotta be honest, I don't follow much on the Traveller news because it's so fragmented. I don't know what is what anymore. And Mongoose does not have the greatest reputation in the world either. So sometimes they release something good, and then sometimes they'll release something good and people go, oh, hey, Mongoose is back to doing good stuff. And then they release like 3 things in a row that are crap. Anyway, so Terry had designed TC Tennis. And I gotta tell you, that was an underappreciated game by Victory Point Games because as far as sports games go, tennis is not an easy game to really simulate, like as a board game, and still have it like strategic in that, not be super random. It was actually really good. It's very, very interesting. But we're not here to talk about TC Tennis. We're here to talk about TC's Traveller Ascension, Imperial Warrant. It is the dawn of the Third Imperium. The Soleimani War has ended, and the vast Terran Empire claimed from the Volani has finally crumbled. Worlds spread throughout distant subsectors of space have lost all communications. They either survived or fell into darkness during the long night. The Volani Empire has been biding its time, licking its wounds from the war. The Emperor, in his grand wisdom, has issued an Imperial Warrant to you, yes, you, and a select few, who he deemed worthy of reclaiming what was once his. In Traveller Ascension, Imperial Warrant, you will journey to these long-lost worlds in an attempt to expand, explore, and exploit. I guess it's a 3X game. Any surviving societies, resources, and artifacts, and bring it all back into the Imperium's fold using diplomacy, covert operations, military prowess, economic or technological means. Rewards come only to those who are bold enough to seize this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All right, so let's get this shrink off here. And there are 2 expansions out for this, or available for this, I should say. And they add 2 more players to the mix. That's pretty much what that does. So, this is kind of weird shrink wrap. So this is from Daring Play, but I do believe, wow, this is like super weird shrink. It's almost kind of like sticky and that's weird. Kind of like stuck on the box. It's like, come on, let go. It looks like there's still more stuck on the front of it. All right, come on. But this box does have quite a good amount of heft. So, it does not have pre-painted figures. You will see in a second, these are actually on transparent plastic. Because I did, like I said, I did an interview with Terry at Origins, and I shot some B-roll of the game. Look at this. See, there's more of that shrink on there. All right, come on, box, open up. So I was going to say that this is from Daring Play, but I believe it is Lost Battalion Games. Get off of me, plastic, for crying out loud. It's not sticking to my hand. I want to say Lost Battalion Games actually did the production of this. I think. I am not positive, but I'm pretty sure. All right, so we have some sort of, looks like this might be a space combat board. Because it shows here sensors, missiles, attack, range, and target. So we've got this. So it's kind of thin, but it is treated. So you can see when it's picking up some of the glare here. Then it is treated there. We have Standee Assembly Guide. Do not use glue. Do not use glue. Don't sniff the glue either. So here we go. How to assemble your standees. One thing that I do recall. Let's see, we got a deck of cards there. Another deck of cards there. Looks like we've got a few more decks. It looks like we got a pretty cool storage system in this. Nice. You'll have these like little discs that you'll put on your individuals and your ships and things like that to make everything kind of unique. So yeah, it kind of looks like a space combat board for Space Empires 4X. Yeah, a little bit, didn't it? Okay, so it looks like these might be... Each of the players gets this to lay out their cards. Lay out various cards in front of them. So, Terry had told me what they were... trying to do with this game was... They were trying to set it up so that you got a good feel for the Traveller role-playing game in a box, you know, in a board game, in a tabletop board game. So I'm curious if they were able to pull it off, because there were like really grand suggestions of what Terry was telling me, like implications of a lot of stuff going on. A lot of different things would be going on different planets and things like that. So should be pretty interesting. The one thing that I am curious about with all that going on, are the rules clunky or not? That's what I was kind of curious about. Let's see. Disco ships. Yeah. So Rob says, I think you're right. I recall getting some ads in my last Sergeant's Miniature game order. Yeah, like I said, I'm 99% positive it's Lost Battalion Games. Robert, I didn't realize you played Sergeants. That is kind of an interesting game. I remember I interviewed the guy who is in charge of Lost Battalion Games quite a few years ago at Origins, and actually did a video where he was doing kind of a playthrough and stuff like that. And no, Another one of these guys where it's like, oh yeah, I'll send you a bunch of stuff, you can check it out, and it's like, never see it. So, anyway, that's one of the reasons why I almost did not talk to Terry about this game, but since Terry's my friend, I was like, okay, yes, I will provide coverage for your Traveller game. So this is the rule book, it looks like here. So we got an introduction. The long night ends. The ascension begins. So here's kind of the layout, which is pretty interesting because we're going to see we've got like these space lanes that connect different planets together. So pretty cool. Crunchy rules. I have Sergeants, the metal figure one, not the plexiglass version. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, yeah, I remember it was the minis. There were minis, and I guess the big selling point of Sergeants is that each of the soldiers is unique. It's 100% completely unique. Unique name. Nobody else is going to get a character card with the same name, same kind of stats, things like that. I believe, and I'm sure Rob could probably Vinyl Rabbit could attest to this. I thought Lost Battalion's working on a American Civil War game, which is going to have these same sort of transparent plastic figures. So we got the components there. Talking about the game board. So here we go with the different worlds, outposts, space panels, world panels, assets, diplomats, shadow agents, and soldiers. So we've got ships. We got scouts, destroyers, and cruisers. Spacecraft are the primary means of asset transportation. It's advantageous to always have a ship nearby to help move assets between systems to safeguard your interests from opponents. I gotta be honest, I thought originally that this was this was going to have like, 2 to 4 players in the base game. So yeah, so so Vinyl says it's already out, and then Rob says, yeah, it's coming soon. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, to be very honest. I don't really follow what's going on with Lost Battalion games. So we got movement, power and trade, how to play, setting up the game, playing the game. Traveller Ascension Imperial Warrant is a card-driven strategy board game. Player progresses through the game by playing actions and events each turn, which allow them to utilize the various aspects of their faction. Alright, so talking about the cards. Understanding the action board. So, this is the action board, I think. I think that's what we're seeing here. Action Jackson board. Understanding the action board. Military actions, diplomacy actions, shadow actions, science actions, economic actions, movement actions. Understanding the faction panels, card events, secret cards, mapping star systems. So we got Planetfall, Shadow Agents and Planetfall, Flux Roll. Wait a second, we're playing Flux here? Draw a card, play a card. Draw a card, play a card. There you go, that's Flux. Rules change every 4 minutes. Trades and treaties. Combat. So we got space combat. So I had mentioned that the expansions add 2 more players to the mix. I believe it's all new factions that are added. It's not just, oh, here's 2 more copies of the factions here. So we got the smart combat system, standard combat system, ship card info, planetary combat. So we got siege worlds, assault world, winning the game, basic victory, most victory points wins, advanced game victory. Scenarios sometimes have custom winning conditions. We got a glossary. So we've got like 32 pages of rules with a lot of illustrations, really big font, very, very easy to read. Actually, I can take my reading specs off. Don't even have to read them. So here we go. We've got the scenario book for the base game. It's a few pages long. So let's see what we got here. Scenario basics, scenario information. So we've got scenario 1. So let's lay out here for the subsector. Scenario 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. First come, first served. And scenario 9. So we got 9 scenarios in here. Is there a 10th? Nope, it's the 9th. Okay. Oh, hey, that's for a solitaire player, huh? Cool. I think that's the only one that said 1 player. Yep, it's the only one that says 1. Okay, so now we're going to start digging into a lot of different stuff. Some of this stuff I will have probably absolutely no clue what they are. Like these square things, I'm not sure. The numbers on it, not positive. So we got dice, and then it looks like we've got a little disc. Little disc marker there. Got another deck of cards. So we've got the different characters. Okay, these are the little, these are like I think these are like supposed to be space lanes that are going to connect the planets together. Speaking of the planets, got the planets here. It's like little pieces to kind of lock things in place, maybe? It's a possibility. All right, so we've got all these different discs. This is what I was talking about, how you'll have the ability to kind of customize the different ships and the characters. They're all not the same. A mystery signal mission. Classic sci-fi. Yep. That was the solitaire one. So we've got some discs here. They seem to have the same. These must be like little jump spots. I believe this is for, I don't know. I have no idea. Nebula or some sort? Okay, so then we got blue standees, and we've got, so this is player one, okay, blue player, red player. Got those two. We've got your action board, which these go together. So we got military, diplomacy, shadow science, economic, and movement. So these would, I take a stab, these are going to connect together like this. And that sits in front of each player. Each player has a copy of that. Hey, a Sharpie! There we go. I don't know, a dry erase marker. Got another deck of cards. There's more decks of cards underneath. There's lots of stuff in here. Got a budget tracker for each of the players. Shadow agent deck. So we got scouts and shadow agents there. What else is hiding down here? Haha, there's the other one. I was wondering, I'm like, there's 5 of these. What's going on here? This looks like 3 panels that connect. So they have a Supreme Court card. Yeah, they might. There's a bunch of different events that go on. Okay, so we've got some alphabet tiles. So we kind of punch those out. Turn tracker. Here's our turn tracker here. So we've got that. We've got more. These connect, I believe, to the planets. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these, maybe they, you know what? I bet you they connect to these. Just like so. And that's what these little things do. Is hold these together on your board. This looks like this is going to take some serious space on your table. So then we've got these gas giants, asteroids, and society. Got these here. We've got some punched out tokens. Hey, look, the Avengers. Sweet, the Avengers are in this game. Wow, I don't know. How was he able to afford that license? Traveller and the Avengers? That's wild. What a revolting development this is. So we've got these. Okay. So we got obviously blue and red sides for these, for the two players. Hey, what's in here? It's kind of funny because it's like, as weird as it sounds, it's like a burnt wood smell. Because you can see these are, I bet you it's from the laser cut. I bet you that's what that is. I mean, it's not like overpowering, but I mean, I can smell it. So these get connected to the different planets. So, and it kind of explains, okay, so what's the main export, I guess we would say, or, you know, main product of that planet, why you'd be looking to try to get it. So we've got a bunch of these. Okay, these are like space markers, I believe. So a lot of this stuff just comes out. Looks like it just comes out of the box, probably putting it on the table here. So we got resources, so we got different resources in here. So pretty cool. I like how there's the different trays that are already set up in here. So that's pretty sweet. So it has almost like you'd take a card and slide it in to separate stuff. I'm not sure if that's what you actually do or not. Let's see what else we got here. Take a look at some of these. Here are the planets. So you're gonna discover these planets, asteroid belts and things like that. So Vinyl Rabbit's asking the MSRP on this game. I had mentioned it a little earlier. It's $79.95. So NK says that and all those in-house produced stuff from Victory Point Games. I missed the first part of that because I'm not sure, because I was like, oh, who's mentioning Victory Point Games? Because Terry had worked for Victory Point Games for a few years. So we got the different planets, but as I was going to say, you actually, when you discover the planets, or rediscover the planets, I guess we'll say, when you're rediscovering the planets, you determine what class of planet it is. So there's like tons of replayability in this game from what Terry was telling me when we talked about this previously. So what are these ones on the end here? All right, come on. Okay, so more of the same kind of. Huh. That's kind of cool. Nice. It's a factory. Then we got some more space. So a lot of these different kinds of, I don't want to say counters. They're almost like tiles, right? Kind of strangely cut tiles. Very uniquely cut tiles. Okay, so tell you what, this is going to be a weird game to try to put away every time you play. I'll tell you that much right now. Trying to slide stuff in so they fit underneath. Yeah, I see that being a real hassle. So, okay, so we've got all that stuff. So let's, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can kind of take a look at some of these characters and these ships. So that laser cut stuff is top notch. Really appreciate that someone who now has way too many bits, pieces, and random tokens like it when they have dividers. Yeah, I wonder if there are cards that are dividers in here. Because we're going to look at some of these decks too. But first off here, give you a better look at these discs. Like I said, they're like nebula. Maybe like comets or something, you know, like Halley's Comet. All right. Let's open this up. Looks like I better bust out the ye old hobby knife again. Where the heck did I just toss it? All right, where did I bury the hobby knife? It's not sticking in me, so that's a bonus. All right, I'll have to use something else here. So we've got diplomats, shadow agents, and soldiers. So it's showing that we've got 6 shadow agents, 6 diplomats, and 4 soldiers. So this is the soldier. Let's zoom even further in. Give you a better look. That is the soldiers. Now, this looks a little different than what I originally saw at Origins, I think. I don't remember them being cut like this. I thought they were more like a square, and then this was on it. Now, I might be wrong, but I thought that's what I saw before. But this is kind of cool. So it's cut. So you got the front and the back. So they actually did the art for both the front and the back. So that's a soldier. Let's see. Whoops. There's a diplomat. And here's a shadow agent. Okay, so here's the shadow agent. That's what the shadow agent looks like. Just like that. Front and back. And then this is a diplomat. Oh, I'm so diplomatic. Yes. Let's trade. Final Rabbit's like, I like you. Okay, so those are the 3 kinds there. Now let's look at the ships. Yeah, I knew these would all start popping out. What are the ships that we got here? I don't know how many people have already covered this game. I don't know. This could be the first unboxing video for this game. I'm not aware. Well, I would take a guess. Yeah, probably Daring Play did one. Okay, so that's one kind of ship there. So like so, and then we've got this. I think. Let's see. So it's pretty obviously enough that these slide together like so. So this is one of the ships here. So I thought I saw there are three kinds of ships. Weren't there scouts, destroyers, and cruisers? So that is a cruiser, no doubt. And all right, come on, you. Maybe that. Nope. I'm trying to put the wrong thing in here. It's oh, here we go. I think it works like so. Okay, so that's no doubt that's the destroyer. And of course, they're going to come with a stand based on which player you are, if you're a blue player or if you're a red player. So that is the destroyer. And then this, let's see if I can find the little itty bitty. There you go. A little stand for it. That is the scout. So, and it says how many of each we got. We got 2 cruisers, 4 destroyers, and 6 scouts in here. So we've got those. Here, we'll take a little closer look at these discs. So we'll have some of these go on planets, some of these go on characters. So we see it's got like Tech 12 Jump 2. So that's DD9, so that's a Destroyer 9. This is Scout 8. So Scout 8. I'm not sure what the difference between black and red would be. Doesn't look like the numbers are changing. This is for the characters. The characters get something like this, so this would go on like a shadow agent, I guess. So it says, like right there, Agent 5. Then we've got like the Diplomat 5 right there. So we've got a bunch of these. As I mentioned, Terry had told me that they did, you know, when he was doing the design, he was really, really trying to aim for trying to make the game have like loads and loads of replayability. So 3D ships like Steve Jackson's remake of Ogre. There's a lot of games out there that are kind of doing that with their various different units that they kind of have. Zoom back out a little bit. There we go. Where they do that sort of like you assemble the figure like this, little kind of standees. All right, so we got scouts, destroyers, scouts, destroyers, scouts, destroyers. Now we got cruisers. We got 3 cards of those. Back to scouts, destroyers, cruisers, cruisers, cruisers. Okay. So remember, there's only 2 cruisers in this game, right? There's 2 cruisers. What were there? 4 destroyers, 6 scouts. So, once again, as I mentioned, you're looking to all the design is looking to try to make this as, you know, as much replayability built into it. So when you get a ship, see Scout 10, so you would use the Scout 10 mini indicator here to represent one of the scouts in the standee, right? So you actually slide this onto the standee's base. So, and then you would add Scout 10, and then you look, it says Scout 10. So we've got all these various different scouts. So your scouts are never always going to be the same exact thing. You're going to have kind of different aspects to them. And that's the same with, looks like same with the destroyers, as well as the cruisers. That's why there's, what, 6 cruiser cards? But there's only 2 cruisers in the game. So the cruiser is going to be a little bit different. So that every time you get a cruiser, or every time you get a destroyer or something like that, it's not going to be the same exact ship that's going to have the same exact attributes. So I think that's kind of cool. I think that's pretty cool. Same with the shadow agents. Same with the soldiers. So here are the decks for, I guess this is for red? Or are they all... No, I guess they're going to represent both sides. So we got soldiers, diplomat, shadow agent, oops, soldier, diplomat. Same artwork on each, but there's a little bit something a little bit different. Right? Envoy 16, Envoy 9. And I'll show you which one are you using. Diplomat 1. So you're going to use the Diplomat 1 mini to represent that. So pretty cool. I have never played a game called Escape Velocity either. I wonder what that... I would take a guess you're trying to try to reach the moon? Maybe? So, okay, so those are the shadow agents and scouts and soldiers. So we got that. Okay, so now we've got... let's take a look at some of these events. Come on. The cardstock is pretty good, and it has a finish to them. So I would not necessarily say you got to run out and sleeve these right away, because once again, I'll see if I can pull off a little bit of glare on here. There we go. You can see it's got a bit of a finish to it. Building a new tomorrow. Military shadow, movement shadow, economic, rocket science. Hey, a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. So all different cards here. So these are events. So they all have the red on it. Now, do we have one that's blue? Does this have blue on it? No, it's still red. So it's for both players. It's an action deck, I guess. So I'm taking a guess that both of these combine together for one deck, because the backing is the same on them. Yep. Legal entanglements. I hate when that happens. Ambush, Titan security, industrial espionage, reassign agent, solar flares. Very cool. I know Terry was telling me a story. He was playing against, and I think it was like a multiplayer game with like 4 players. And he said that I think one of the players had some sort of scientific, like, vaccine ability and stuff. So what they did is, I guess, a planet that Terry and this other player were fighting over. The player unleashed this, like, biological weapon or something like that, and because he had the high science level, it didn't affect him, but it like wiped out like Terry's units or something like that, or you know, so he was kind of like knocked off the planet. I thought that was kind of cool. So I understand that a lot of these action cards are gonna kind of create a story, and it looks like they're all unique. Now it looks like we've got, you know, this is an economic action, this is a movement action. So, and then we've got a value up top. So maybe you're maybe it's kind of like a lot of card-driven games where you can either use the event, or you can use the number up here for, you know, like operations points or something. So I see we've got like B, C, B, C, B, A. I wouldn't be shocked if that's how you determine the class of planet, is you draw a card. So, yeah, this looks really, really interesting, gang. All right, and then we got the secret deck. Let's kind of take a peek here. I'm wondering if this is something that you, when you're using your shadow agents, you get secrets. Got a legendary operative, hidden agenda, galactic survey, archive, free skies, rich planet. See, it says like react. Some say react and some don't. So maybe you use these, you play these cards to react to something that another player does. The second player. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And nope, I was going to say that cards don't fit into that. So, all right. So we've got all the different decks of cards. We've got these for each of the 2 players with the bases. And it looks like these are the space lanes to connect your planets. Not sure. I didn't read the rules. We just paged through them real quick. We've got we've got these for the blue player. We've got all of these that go on the standees. These pieces here kind of connect the maps together with various different things. Got all the standees here. I'm gonna have to break this down after I do the video. After I'm done with tonight's show, I'm gonna have to actually sit down here and kind of break this down so everything fits together correctly. All right, you come on. What the? Forget it. I'll leave that put together because it doesn't look like it's coming apart. They fit nicely together, so I gotta point that out. So that's cool. All right, so then we got the different characters plus more of the ships. We got these connectors here. We've got the player boards that you assemble. You put these together. So we've got these. So each player is going to get one of those that they put together. We've got these special ability, different things down here. Budget tracker. There's loads and loads of stuff. So we've got more of these little connectors. I have absolutely no idea what these letters are supposed to be for. Yeah, there, it looks like this is jam-packed with goodies here. Plus, also has that kind of storage system, too. We got the turn tracker. Then we got the scenario book. Let's zoom back out a little bit. Whoops, wrong way, Jeff. There we go. We've got the scenario booklet. We got the rule book. We've got the player, like, action boards. We got a reference sheet. The assembly guide. Don't use glue. And what appears to possibly be, whoops, a space combat mat. And that is all the goodness that we find inside Traveller Ascension. Oh, let's not forget the dry erase marker. And that's what we find when we take everything from Traveller Ascension Imperial Warrant outside the box. Very sweet. Oh, look. I even forgot to put the deck of Shadow Agent cards away. So, as I mentioned, this is available from Daring Play Games. I do not know how many copies are still available, to be honest, because I know this was Kickstarted, and all the backers got their copies too. So I didn't read the rules. I just paged through them. Hey, that's how I start all my games, says Ghost World. Yeah, sometimes I do that. Not when I'm trying to teach somebody how to play. A lot of times, yeah, I'll just set something up and try, when I'm trying to learn the game by myself, yeah, I'll just go with the rules as I'm playing. So this is for 2 players, ages 10 and up. It does carry an MSRP of $79.95. So by all means, you can go to daringplay.com and check this out. There are other expansions. I think there's more stuff on the horizon too. There were a lot of Kickstarter exclusives, I believe, that went out too. So, of course, I will have a review of Traveller Ascension Imperial Warrant in the very near future. Probably a couple weeks. That's usually what usually runs, about a couple weeks. So, let's move this off to the side here. So, what do you think, gang? Do you want, should we do a little bonus? Should we do a bonus zombie war? Huh? Take a peek? Take a peek. You guys still got a few minutes? You want to hang out? I'll wait. I know Rob said, yeah, he's like, yeah, I want to see that. Tiny Battle Publishing, come on, yeah. All right, everybody's gotten clamped. I'm done taking a look at the unboxing and everybody clams up. Were you guys all like talking about me? Well, wasn't paying attention. They're like, hey, Jeff's not paying attention. He's such a doofus. No wonder this show's called Daily Dope. He's such a dope. All right, so let's take a look at Zombie War. This is from Tiny Battle Publishing. Yeah, I knew you guys would want to take a look at it, so I already set that up. So we're good as far as that goes. It's designed by Greg Porter. So Greg Porter has been doing a lot of work for Mark H. Walker lately. I believe he lives nearby Mark, if I remember correctly. I think they play a lot of games together. So if you are familiar with Armageddon War, which is from the big parent company, I guess we'll say, Flying Pig Games, then you know Greg Porter's work. This is a little bit different. The game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. Plays in about an hour to an hour and a half. It's on sale right now. It carries an MSRP of 26, I should say MSRP of 30, but it is available on sale right now for $26. Oh, so yes, so Ghost World's like, well, as long as it doesn't go on too long, I'm dead tired. Yes, I get it. Playing off the zombie aspect of this. Yeah, so yeah, Flaming Heron's like, sorry, did you say something, Jeff? I'm not paying attention to your show, Jeff. We're just hanging out here in chat. Let's back this out a little too far. Okay, so this is Zombie War. Like all Tiny Battle Publishing releases, comes in a Ziploc bag. I believe this is available in print and play. You know what? I'm going to take a look right now and see if it is. Because some titles are and some titles aren't from Tiny Battle. So I'm going to take a quick look at Wargame Vault and tell you it is. And it is available for $10. Yeah, that's kind of usually what Mark charges over at Tiny Battle for the print and play. So let's bring that back up. Okay, so let's take this on out. I was interested in this because I dig the idea of like a large scale zombie game. Most zombie games are, pretty much, individuals. Like one of my favorites, Herman Lettman title, right? Dawn of the Zeds from Victory Point Games, which I believe is getting a Kickstarter for another print run. It's not a new edition. I think it's just a new print run for 3rd edition. So you've got that. Herman actually did for Tiny Battle Dead Reckoning, which I thought was really cool because it was more of a strategic level zombie game where you're actually fighting to save this town, which is not unusual, but you were using units. So you had like the police, and you had SWAT, and you had citizens, and you had different kinds of zombies and stuff. It was really cool. Really enjoyed that one too. Oh, hey, this is a pretty good size map. So, paper stack's good. It is a paper map, do have to point out. So, so this is kind of a point-to-point game here. So it's global level, of course. Love Armageddon War, biggest game sleeper of 2018, says Vinyl Rabbit. Armageddon War was my war game of the year for last year, so I agree with you. I really, really liked it, and one of the things I really dug about it was not it actually tackled a subject that most gamers out there would never really think of. I mean, it's kind of weird for, like, you know, one of the players is playing Hezbollah, right? One of the players is playing ISIL. But I really, really dug it, and very easy to get into too. Is the co-op for Dawn of the Zeds any good, or is it still mainly good for solitaire? I have played, okay, so I played all 3 editions and reviewed all 3 editions of Dawn of the Zeds. In fact, way back in the day, what was it, maybe 2011, 2012, something like that. The first edition, the desktop published Dawn of the Zeds, was actually my game of the year. I picked it for my game of the year, and I had all these people emailing me, telling me I was out of my mind, and how could I say, you know, a Victory Point game title was my favorite game of the year? And I was like, well, it was. I really enjoyed it. The co-op is fine. I like the co-op fine. It's not that much different than playing solitaire. All you're basically doing is, rather than you having so many actions for each of your characters that you're controlling, you're just farming it out. So, for an example, like, okay, so I'm the sheriff, somebody else is the deputy, somebody else is the mayor, kind of thing. Whereas if you're playing solo, you're handling all of those characters. So, only thing that with the 3rd edition, it started getting to the point. 2nd edition started doing this. 3rd edition got to the point where Victory Point Games was just throwing everything but the kitchen sink into that game, and there was a lot of stuff that was starting to be included in the 2nd as well as the 3rd edition that was not what Herman wanted. Herman Lutman, you know, it went into a direction he didn't want it to go. So, just to point that out, it's still his game. But yeah, like, there's a tunnel system in 2nd edition and 3rd edition I don't like, where the characters get lost and stuff like that. And to me, it's just busy work die rolling. It doesn't add anything to the game. But 2nd and 3rd edition are really good. 3rd edition is really, really well done. Just that tunnel thing. All right, so we got the map here. And then we've got kind of a breakdown. So we've got a score. So each of the players, of course, are going to be tracking a score here. So I see we've got different threat levels. So we got quarantine, blockade, containment, eradication, and desperation, dropping the nukes. I wonder if anybody out there has seen the new edition, the new version of Dawn of the Dead, and the special extra features that it had on the Blu-ray. And they actually had kind of almost like a documentary sort of thing, which was supposed to be what was going on around the world during, you know, the zombie uprising, you know. And I think they talk about how China starts dropping nukes and stuff like that. Hey, no problem. You're very welcome, NK. Yeah, 3rd edition Dawn of the Zeds. If you don't have it and you kind of keep an eye on Victory Point Games, I'm sure they'll shoot me an email when they do that 3rd edition Kickstarter reprint. I will let you know. Yeah, definitely get on board with that. So you will enjoy it. Okay, so we got game setup, zombie spread. So that is the map. And let's take a look at the rules here. Pretty short. So we've got setup, the map, the counters, the cards, the dice. 2 6-sided dice. Well, thank goodness I have 2 6-sided dice handy. Okay, so which you have to provide on your own. Yes, I understand that. You need to know. Talk about military units, expanding, smuggling, contain, protection. Each player has one or more roles that rotate from round to round. That's something else that I thought was kind of cool too, is that everybody takes on a certain role, but they don't keep that role for the entire game. Every turn it moves around, so the players all have different roles and they're all going to take turns doing them. So I think it's possible that this is more like a co-op than anything else. If I were to get a new VPG version upgrade, it would be Darkest Night. Yeah, there's a huge difference between first and second edition Darkest Night. There's no doubt about that. I like Darkest Night. I think it's a really well done game, but it's not a game that I go back to a lot. Because it seems to... It's got replayability, don't get me wrong, but it seems to be kind of the same thing over and over again. Even though you got all the different equipment and gear and things like that, different monsters and stuff, it kind of plays the same way each time. Although it's still really good. All right, how to do stuff. What do medical units do? Military attacks, zombie smuggling, zombies spreading to a new region, victory. Each player has 2 ways to win. One of these will be role-based. You do not have to be playing that role in a round to win with that condition. It just represents a faction you are aligned with. Okay, and then we got strategy notes. And some more info on the back. I always point out with the Tiny Battle Publishing games, always go over to the Tiny Battle website because there could be some changes to the rules. I know I was taking a look at Chile 1973. Oh, well, it's Chile 73. And right away I saw that there was errata. In fact, there was something missing from the map that you had to actually add in. So I was kind of like, oh, okay. Let's zoom on in and take a look at these counters here. So, dual-sided. These are cut really nicely. I mean, they started popping right out as I picked them up. So we've got armed medics. We've got soldiers. We've got zombies. Different strength zombies, it looks like. 4 and 5s. Dual-sided, so it looks like we've got some step reduction. Okay, so these are just regular medics, and these are armed medics. So we got the threat level counter here. This is for each of the 4 players. So we got that. And we got another counter sheet here. So more armed medics. More zombies, a little weaker zombies down here. Soldiers. Not as heavily armed, it looks like. Then we got little 1 zombies, more medics, and more soldiers here as well. So then we've got some cards. We've got a little deck of cards. And I swear, I have so many things floating around in the duct tape studios. It's like, okay, so thankfully I was able to pull that shrink off pretty easily. I'm like, where in the world did I put that damn hobby knife that I opened up the Traveller Ascension box with? I'm like, where is it? Ah, found it. There you go. It was actually under the keyboard. I'll put it back where I normally keep it. Okay, so we have Roll Zombie, Roll Government. Okay, so Faction Victory Zombies, Faction Victory Military, Region Victory United States, Region Victory Third World, Sequence of Play. That's cool. So we got that. So we got the military, we got Faction Victory Isolationists, Faction Victory Government. I wonder if each of the players gets, like, this is secretly they get a victory condition card that they're trying to do. I'm not sure. China Region Victory, South America, and Australia. In your sequence of play. There we go, corporate. So there are the 4 roles for the 4 players. So we've got terrorists. Okay. So what, we're trying to save terrorists in this game? What the hell is going on? Yeah, Kabuki Kid is right. Annoying when you have to patch a map. Yeah, I know. How do you do that? It's like, you know, if you've got like something you can run through the printer that's, you know, got adhesive on one side, yeah, I suppose, but faction victory corporate, region victory Europe, region victory Russia. Okay, so we've got region victory conditions. Maybe these are just like you're just adding these points to your score. Maybe that's it. These are the factions. More of the regions and factions. Cool, this looks interesting. I mean, it really does. It's very interesting. I know my nephew Cameron will certainly want to check this out because, for one, he's starting to get kind of into war games and stuff, and he really digs zombie games. In fact, he loves Dawn of the Zeds. I gave him my copy of 2nd edition because he likes 3rd edition so much. Break out a Sharpie and some plastic chits. Yeah, pretty much. You know, when you're fixing maps. Okay, so we got the different cards. We've got the 2 counter sheets. We've got the rule book. And we got the cool map. This map looks pretty cool. I like this. I like that. Very, very nice. Wonder where, I'm going to take a guess. You probably randomly roll to see where the good old zombie outbreak starts and then have to deal with it. All right, so that is what we find when we take everything. Well, I can't say out of the box. Outside the box, I guess we'll say outside the bag. So that is Zombie War from Tiny Battle Publishing. As I mentioned, it's designed by Greg Porter. The game is for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. Interesting, too, because Tiny Battle Publishing doesn't do a lot of games with more than 2 players. So that's pretty cool. Plays in an hour to an hour and a half and does carry, like I said, a sale price right now of $26. If you want to check out the print and play, then go to Wargame Vault. It's $10. And I do want to point out, the Gaming Gang is an affiliate of the One Bookshelf site. So if you were going to go over to Wargame Vault, go pick this up, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners for like drive-through RPG. And if you go there and then go to like Wargame Vault and make a purchase, we get a little piece of the action there. Somebody had actually emailed, and they were kind of curious. They were like, so on average, what do you normally receive from, say, a $20 PDF on drive-through? And I was like, I don't really dig that deeply into what people buy and what the cut is. But I will point out, there are things that people buy that the affiliate portion is like 4 and 5 cents. So it's not like, you know, tons of money. But hey, I really appreciate the people out there who do go to Drive-Thru RPG after clicking on one of our banners, because all those nickels and dimes and quarters all add up, and they pay for the hosting of the website just about month in, month out. And our hosting's like $64.10. So, all right, so you guys are sitting there talking about RAN. There you go. Reprint of Kremlin. Who did Kremlin? Was that an SPI game? I remember that. Oh yeah, talking about kind of like things are messed up. So I'm friends with a lot of the designers who kind of started with Victory Point Games. We kind of grew up together, you know. So John Welsh is a good buddy of mine, and he did Cruel Necessity, which is an excellent solitaire English Civil War game. It is phenomenal. It's really good. And of course, they printed the board out, and there's a misprint like right there on the board. I mean, it's like big and bold, and you're like, what? It's like, how did that slip by? Yep. All right, so that is it for tonight's show. Hey, thanks everybody for coming by and hanging out in chat. We always have a pretty good time. Yeah, I'm really milking it at that rate. Calm down there, Mr. Moneybags. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm like Scrooge McDuck. I'll go dive into my pool of pennies. So on Monday's show, I will be unboxing and taking a first look at Kanban. I think it's pronounced Kanban. I'm not sure. Kanban. I want to say Stephen Bonacore said it's Kanban. Anyway, we're going to look at the driver's edition. This is the Great Designers Series number 9 from Stronghold Games. This looks really neat. This looks pretty cool, pretty meaty. Plays in about an hour, 2 hours, so it's probably got a little bit of depth to it. So that's pretty sweet. All right, so as I like to say, when you are not watching the Gaming Gang videos on the channel, please go to thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. By now you know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Kabuki Kid says yes, it is pronounced Kanban. It almost sounds like a candy, doesn't it? Hey, I'll have another Kanban. One thing I do want to point out too before I go is if you are a subscriber on YouTube, please tell a friend. For some strange reason, I've been sitting at like 1,290 some subscribers forever, and it's really weird. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out some of the logistics and algorithms and stuff like that YouTube uses, but it's kind of like, man, I don't want to have to dig into this stuff to figure out how to get more views and things like that. I'd rather be concerned with actually putting out, fun videos to kick back with. Yeah, Peggy Bundy and her bonbons. Hey, better than Ted Bundy and his bonbons. So, so be sure to tell a friend. Let a friend know. And if you don't follow me on Twitter, please do at thegaminggang.com. Not thegaminggang.com, just at thegaminggang. It's Friday. It's been a long week. All right. So, as I mentioned, I will be back on Monday. So, until then, enjoy your weekend. Have a very safe weekend. Hopefully, you do some gaming, kick back with some friends, and enjoy. So, until next week, thank you for watching. Thanks again for watching The Daily Dope, presented by The Gaming Gang. If you like this episode, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you dig the channel, please subscribe. If you'd like to check out our previous episode, click right here. And if you want to check out a somewhat randomly selected episode, give a click right down here. It'll be like opening a box of Cracker Jacks. You just don't know what you'll get. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'm Jeff McAleer.